Okay, so what we want to use for bringing in our stuff is this content drawer. And I've already got some stuff here, but you probably want to have a folder for imported content. So I'm going to right click and add a folder. I'm going to open this one up. And I'm going to make another folder. For my textures. And then I'll go back to this first one, to my imports, and right click and add another folder for my materials. And another one for my meshes. And I only use Unreal for rendering, so if you're going to create a level, you might not want to do it that way. Let's see, now what do we want to do? Well, I could go back to my content drawer and go to my textures, and I'll make a folder for my runestone. So one thing I'm going to do is click this dock in layout, because again, we're going to be using mostly this. So there's another thing we want to do. Let's see here. I'm going to click on the settings for the content browser now that I have this open. And show engine content is already toggled on. We want that, but let's show the plugin content as well. Okay, so now we've done that. So if I go to my imports here, where I made these 3 folders, I can open up the meshes and right click and try and import my runestone. So I'm going to go to my desktop and get my low poly runestone, wherever it is. Let's see. Here it is. All right, so now I have this, and let's see, I think I usually say import all. Let's see, I don't see anything. Convert scene, I probably want that. And create new materials. I'm going to be doing that, so I'm going to just go ahead and go for it. And click import all, why not? So now there's my runestone, and it came with a Lambert. This I don't want, so I'm just going to delete this, and I'll click force delete. So it came in with all of its stuff. If I want to put this in my scene, I could just drag it in here like this. Now I could also scale it and all that good stuff. Rotate it and scale it. So I just left the ground here. I could take that out and import another ground. So these things I can get rid of. Let's go ahead and get rid of these. And it doesn't have a material on it, so let's go ahead and just kind of get this guy set up here. And we'll need to add some lighting. But let's get some of the other stuff going on him. If I go here to materials, what I want to do, and you saw me draw this on the board, I'm going to right click and just add a material. And I'm going to call it runestone matte. If I click on it here, now you see this window. So I hope this is looking familiar. This is where I'm going to bring in my texture maps. and start plugging everything in. So let's do that. Let's close this out. And go back to our textures. So I think the easiest thing to do here is the same way we did the runestone. I'm going to right click and import my files, and here are my texture maps. So I'm just going to open these. So now I have my texture maps here. So now if I go back to my material and open this up, now what I can do is bring in those texture maps. So let's see how to do that. Yeah. So I'll just select all of them and drag them over like this. So this one, I can just go here and drag that to the base color. Now I can see my little ball here is starting to look interesting. This one, I can drag over here to the normal. Now it's getting the normal map on it. Let me move the emissivity over. And just kind of organize these a little bit better. So let me get my ORM going. So as you remember from last week, red is occlusion. So I'm going to drag this down to here. Green is roughness. So I'll drag this over here. And then black is metalness. So I'll drag this over to metallic. Now I have all of these things. I just need to plug in my emissivity. This is why I'm doing the runestone, so you can see how to do everything. So this is my material, my runestone material. And I can go in and adjust these. I can still tweak a lot of these things. So what you'll find is that lighting and texturing and rendering all sort of work together, and you have to keep making changes. But anyway, now I have this material which I can still adjust. Oh yes, it's reminding me to save this. I'm going to apply it. And so it reminded me to save it. I'm going to click Save All right now. And then I'm going to save up here. So this is kind of a feature, and it's important. But now if I go back to my materials here, I can drag this onto my runestone. And I might get rid of the floor and make it something else, but that's going to be all part of my render setup. So this is my lighting and my material. Now all of this stuff I can see over here in my properties. So if I see my runestone, I can see the material properties, and I can adjust those. I can click here, runestone material, and pull this up. When I pull this up, and of course this you won't be able to see until you go to render, but you can go over here and tweak like the amount of emission and stuff like that. You know, if you select different things. Here's your ORM. Where's my emissive? Here it is. Here's my emissive. So let's see. This is another 12 minutes. So I'm going to end this part about importing assets and then start the render setup in another demo recording.